Hello, welcome. What I thought we would do, I thought we would paint some trees that were like these. A lot of you said that you would like to paint these, so I thought, okay, let's do it. This is the brush I used on those trees. I will link it. Let's go ahead and tape our paper down. So then the other two sides, I don't go around. It does the best sealing, but do what you like. All right, all four sides taped down. Now, the trickiest part of this whole thing, figure out what colors you want to use. Brooke from Redbud Pigment, we're gonna use her snake plant. Spray my paper, just kind of gently. Not a lot, just a few sprays. Moisten up our paper just a little bit. And we don't want this back row too dark. So we're just gonna start painting our trees. We draw our straight line. That's how I do it. Side to side, very loosely, down, down. Draw another line, a different height, side to side, side to side, side to side. That's it. We're just gonna draw lines, different heights, side to side, side to side. Letting our brush do all the work. You can try all the different brushes, liners, script liners, you can try rounds, you can try whatever you think will help you. Now these last trees, they got a little darker than I would like, but they'll also dry. But also we're gonna take our brush, rinse it off, dab our brush off a little bit, and then we're just going to give ourselves a slope, doesn't matter which way, whichever way you'd like, and then we'll accentuate our slope by going downhill a bit with our next few trees so that it does look like it goes downhill a bit. And there we go. We're just let that kind of watery, misty feel do its thing. And we'll give one more tree over here. And that's kind of it for that one. That we just did what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 little loose trees. We can also throw another little one peeking in right here if we want. We could have left that space empty. You can do whatever you like. Okay, we can even get it blurrier if we want. Okay, and if we want to rinse again, we can even pull this down just a little bit more if we want. We can drop in more color if we wanted to. I don't want to with this last row. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to dry this layer. Dry that with my heat tool because I don't often have time to wait. I'm going to take the same color I had. I'm going to get it a little bit darker. Not super much, but a little bit. And I'm not going to spray my paper this time. I'm going to start with some more trees. These ones will be a little bit larger, a little more bold, and the paper's not wet, right? So the dry marks are going to accentuate that. And you can always drop in a little bit of more pigment right in the center like that. But I don't want to go that dark yet. So that was jumping the gun a little bit. And so I'm gonna suck some of that water out, I think. Or also when I pull my paint down, I think it will do that. So let's see where we should drop a few more trees here, and then we'll get the water going and see which direction we wanna go with this. I feel like it's already kind of pulling me this way. So let's see what happens. And often I will just let the paper and the water and the paint kind of dictate what we're doing, not me so much, because I don't know, I feel like letting the water lead where it wants to go can really be freeing and also kind of help you to go with the flow versus trying to force things. And so in a little thing like this, I think it's those little small steps we can take to kind of let go of certain things. And I have a hard time letting go of control. So for me, this is good. Okay, I'm just drawing lines after line and just bouncing from side to side, letting the tip of this brush do the work and the belly drop in some color. So see, these did stay kind of dark, and I guess I'm okay with that. At first I thought I might want to lift some of that paint out. I think we'll leave it. Maybe we'll stick a little tree down here. Try to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 odd numbers. I think that's all right. And instead of doing, as many as I normally do, let's just bring this down a little bit. That way we have sort of like a, just a little extra little extra land area. I don't know what you want to call it. A little extra, you know, depth here. If we wanted to, since we do have a little more dark, we can just drop, like maybe what we do is drop a little bit of darker in these ones on the side to sort of frame it in to lead the eye elsewhere. So maybe these two side ones. I don't really have much going on here, so I will just darken that one area up right there. And that's it, okay? Rinse my brush and dry again. I feel like this looks like a hard line. That's a hard line, but you know what? We're not gonna worry about it. It's just practice, it's just for fun. And so these hard lines, you could take your brush and you could go back, dry it off quite well. And you could soften these up like this if you wanted to, if that bothered you. Honestly, that doesn't bother me in this instance, so I'm going to kind of leave it. It almost looks like it's rocks or like a bit of a rough terrain. That being said, we can also put trees over these areas that maybe you're not as fond of, right? So for instance, if you didn't like that, which I do, so I'm not going to particularly go over it, and I just wet it, so I don't want to go over that spot exactly. But what I could do is I could go close to somewhere like here. I could always darken this green. If it's not getting green enough for me, I can take a little bit of Payne's gray, or I can take a little bit of a blackish color and drop that in there to get it darker. But I don't want to go super dark yet, so I don't think I'm going to do that. But I just wanted to let you know, if you wanted to, if your tones weren't getting dark enough how you wanted them, don't be afraid to add. There are no rules. Just have fun with it and do what works for you in the moment and in the time. And if later on you decide that you don't want to use black or whatever the you know, quote unquote rule might be, you can change your mind. It doesn't have to, you don't have to have anything set in stone right now. And do what you like. All right, see, I was slowing down too much. Just go faster with this brush. I'm just gonna be loose, and I'm going to go a little bit faster and just get some trees in there. And I'm not gonna make them perfect. This one's gonna be a little crooked. It's going to be a little blobby. I didn't mean it to be quite so blobby. That's okay. So now let's change up our direction. Let's catch these trees coming downhill a little bit. And then we can bring this tree down a little bit taller like that. And then with that being said, we can take our water and we can go back up here, or our paint and go back up here and let it touch the water on the way down. We can go a little taller if we wanted to. You can do whatever you like. The idea though is to keep the smaller trees in the back and the larger trees up front, which quite honestly, there's not a huge difference for me in this one. I didn't make that a huge priority. My idea is just to get you practicing trees and painting them over and over and over and making sure that they're not perfect and they're not exact. You're suggesting these trees, right? You're not painting the perfect pine tree or even calling out what kind of tree it is, right? You're just making sure that somebody's looking at this going, okay, cool. And if you want to mix it up a little bit, you can take your spray bottle, cover the area you maybe don't want to, and just maybe fuzz those up a little bit if you don't want them so crystal clear, right? And that's okay too. You can do that. If you don't like it, you can fix that later and I'll show you how. But kind of not making it so perfect, right? You could even blend that back in and it would be okay too. Might get a little bit of a hard edge there. That's okay. So then we're just going to continue adding our trees here if we'd like to. And if we want to be done and leave white space on this level, this layer, we can do that too. And again, we can bring down our tree line or our land line, kind of merging it down here a bit. And you can vary so it's not like a little misty, a little more crisp. You can vary those levels, right? Fuzzy, crisp, fuzzy, and kind of you get more of that misty feel. And, you know, whether it's intentional for you or not, it's all good. That's all takes practice and learning and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I know I say this over and over, but it's so very true, right? So very true. And you can even add, now that we're getting a little bit closer, you can just add some little little things if you wanted to, like little, you know, just texture on the ground around. Okay, so what we can also do is tilt our board and then again wet and move stuff, and everything kind of just pulls slowly down and gradually and kind of at a, you know, fun level. All right, my teapot is going off. Let's dry this layer, grab my cup of tea, and we'll be right back. All right, we got that dried. We're probably gonna do 5 layers. We'll do an odd number of layers. We'll do one more, and then we'll do, oh, sometimes when you dry with the heat tool, your tape will lift up. So just give it a press down if it starts to do that. No biggie. And I'm not using my favorite tape. I'm using a cheaper tape just to use it up. And I may regret that later. It often bleeds. That's okay. Again, I'm not making artwork to sell. I'm making artwork to learn, to improve, and to get better. Learn, improve, and to get better all go hand in hand. And so that's why you'll not see me worry about stuff like that, because I am just trying to practice and better my practice and improve on my everything. I'm very passionate about watercolor. If you don't know, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'd love to have you join me there. It is my kind of my everything. It's where I post everything. It's where I share most stuff in stories. It's where I give my all, quite honestly. I am on Facebook as well, but it really, I really feel at home on Instagram, and that's kind of where, all the friends are. YouTube, I don't feel quite the sense of community, and maybe that's because I don't have a Patreon and I don't, do all the other things that kind of are tied into YouTube, and I would like to, I think, at some point. So lives on YouTube are definitely something that I would consider, exploring at some point in time. Again, I did try it once or twice, and it just felt off because I was so not used to. When you're not used to something, it makes it way different. I'm used to lives on Instagram, but I wasn't used to the live format here on YouTube. So you'll also find me on Skillshare, and where else? I think that's mainly it. I'm not a TikTok girl. Missed that bus gladly. I don't think I can get on that bus. I think that ship has sailed. And I'm okay with that. Perfectly okay with that. So I did wait, see how that got a little dark and the lines are a little prominent. So what we can do is just kind of work the brush into that and kind of loosen it up on your own. And you don't have to make these lines, these can be smooth like this. I tend to do them more organic and jaggedy, so that's why you're seeing that. And again, just, bring that water down as far as you can or want. And I am going to drop a little more water or color in these ones because I feel like we are getting closer to the foreground. We need more color, right? And so this color will help that all pop. All right, Instant Pot soup is ready for when the family comes home. Yay. So it's grocery day today. And so on grocery day, I basically empty the fridge out of all our vegetables that, didn't get eaten over the week. And they just go in a soup. It's fridge soup. And it's a good thing. They always end up loving it. They kind of groan, my family, that I make it, but then they're like, oh yeah, that was a good soup. Bet you can't make it again, can you? I'm like, nah, maybe. We've got one more layer, one more row of trees. Let's dry. Got my tea. It's steeped. It's ready to go. And I also grabbed another brush. I grabbed a really super cheap calligraphy brush. And it's a little bit thicker, so I thought I would use that for the foreground trees because we're gonna go a little bit bigger. And I don't super want to wear and tear on this brush. I gotta find that tip is. Like, I eventually will probably ruin it making trees, right? So I'm gonna try to preserve some of its integrity. I'll use this calligraphy brush. All right, so these little open spaces I think are like the perfect space to perhaps add a tree. Is this the skinniest one? Did I grab the right one? I guess so. I feel like I might not have got the smallest one I have. Maybe the tip's just doing something funny and not cooperating. Maybe not. Okay, so again, straight line, side to side. For me, the less thinking about it, the better. The quicker, the better. Other people prefer to slow down and take their time. For me, it just doesn't work as well. And that's okay. We're all different. And we all do things slightly different, right? And you've got to try and find out which way works the best for you. And I can't always tell you which way that's going to be, right? I can suggest and suggest that you try things, but not everything is always going to work. So I'm going to add another little tree right here and just plop it down pretty quickly. Not going for perfection here. I'm gonna rinse that real quick, and I'm just going to probably, maybe I'm gonna do this. Maybe I won't, and I won't like it. I need more water though, because it's not doing its thing. There we go. Yeah, I'm not sure why I tried to do that, but that's okay. We'll play, and it's okay. We'll play a little bit more, and we'll just make little trees here, and then we'll maybe do another one here. Not sure why these ones got so small, right? And these ones are bigger. So again, logic. This brush is not working for me today. Let me try another brush. And it's okay if you decide that a brush doesn't, you're not happy with that brush today. I've been loving that brush for weeks and weeks now. And all of a sudden, nope, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have off days. Maybe I'm using too much water, so maybe I should take my paper towel and just kind of blot off a little bit of the water and use less water. And so I'm gonna try this dagger instead. And I'm just going to go, same thing, draw a line back and forth. And the trees I don't like so much, maybe I'll add a little bit more to it. Maybe I won't mess with it too much. Maybe I'll add a little more here. And then maybe we will, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5. We still have this front thing going on. I'm gonna just drop a little bit more paint right in this middle section of this one to give it some weight, because it needs to be a little bit darker. We're gonna dry this layer, and I think I'm gonna add something more. I'm not sure why I did this one smack in the middle area. I'm not loving that, so I'm gonna fix that somehow. I'm gonna take my Polina Bright Rigger. Again, keep mixing it up if you're not finding what's working for you that day, right? Or if something's not feeling right, just keep trying. So let's go ahead and add another big tree right here, right next to this other tree. And they are gonna overlap, and that's okay. You want them to overlap. And what I'm gonna do also is I'm gonna add some Payne's Gray and just darken this up a little bit. I can only get so dark with this color, and that's okay, but I'm just gonna add a little bit of, there we go, Payne's Gray, just so the ones in the front just sit a little bit darker, right? And so hopefully that'll bring that forward a little bit more, even than the big one, really. And let's go. We don't want to make the same height. We don't want to mix in with, oops. Okay, so I kind of fumbled that one a little bit. So let's just give it a better top there. It's okay. See, I'm fumbling this one a lot. It's okay. I have too much water in my paint, and so I'm just getting too much blobs. But again, it's okay. It's just paper. We can try again if we don't like it, right? And so if you don't like yours, just try again later and see what you come up with later. And we'll just do a few more. May as well now that we're going. I'm gonna get rid of that brush again. For some reason, I'm just feeling off with brushes right now. And so it can really, really happen. You can use the same brush for like a month, and all of a sudden you're just like, nope, doesn't feel right. And I don't know. It just sometimes it's just the way, right? With anything, really. I could blame it on hormones if I wanted to, right? I could blame anything on hormones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we have 4 in the foreground, and I'm not a fan of the odds. So let's get this one higher. Yeah, let's go, ooh, nice and tall with this one, so that we have something framing on the side. What I often like to do is I often actually like to curve one. So like, let's just do a funky one here. Kind of just add like a curve to the whole thing. There we go. Now I think I have an even number, so we're gonna go ahead and have to add one more somewhere down the line here. And we're just doing trees on trees on trees, right? Lots of trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6. So let's see where we can squeeze one in and it doesn't look too, I can squeeze one right in this spot and just kind of have it sitting with this other tree. And that's gonna be okay. Sometimes that happens. Let's squeeze one in right here too. Just squeeze it in. And yeah, it's more the suggestion of them all together really close, right? Because in my forest, in my backyard, these trees grow really close together. It's like you almost just see just a wall of trees, right? You're not really seeing through them. And if you are, you're just seeing what's behind, and that's more trees, right? So very rarely, unless you're on the edge of a forest, you're basically just seeing into more trees. And so I'm just gonna keep adding. And I think, now that I did this, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna fill up this whole front space right here. I feel like I want it to be almost a solid green down here. Yes, this part. Felt like I wanted this to be like that. Okay, that is all for trees. Let's add some birds because we can, and we're gonna make them very light and very far off. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to keep them very small and just like I said, very light. Okay, so I'm just gonna use some of the color I already have. I'm just gonna use green. And is that a bird color? No, but that's okay. We're just going to add, you know, little birds here, maybe a little bird here. Okay, and then maybe a little bird over here. And then maybe a little bird flying up from the trees, trying to get out. Okay, and then what we can do, we can take our same brush, get some paint, and we can just do a few little splatter marks down in the foreground. And you may not even see them, but it'll just add a little bit of texture. And you could do it wherever you wanted to, really. You can just dilute your water and you could add more up here if you wanted. That is an even number of birds. So let me add one more bird down here. I might have got too much water on there. You don't want too much water, and you also don't want drips coming off your brush, and you also don't want not enough paint. Okay, so there we go. That's going to be it. What we could do, what I have been doing lately, I've been adding some sparkle. So I mean shimmer, not sparkle. So let's take a little bit of our, let's just take a little bit of, I don't know what this is. I can look in a second. This brownish bronzish color, and we're just gonna put it in this foreground. Very, very close up in the foreground. And it's not gonna be a lot. It's just gonna be a little bit, okay? Get a little more water, get a little more paint. Usually you have to let these sit for a little bit. I don't usually have the patience, so I just go in with it. A little more water. Let's do one more round. You kind of want to you do want to be careful because you don't want it all the way up in the whites, I guess, right? So, all right, there we go. And what is that? I don't know, just shiny texture, because why not? That's all it is, because why not? That's good enough reasoning, isn't it? I think it is. All right, let's take that tape off. You could potentially let it dry all the way. Here we go. Let's get that tape off. Da-da-dun-da-dun. And yes, we could have done a sky, but mainly we're practicing our trees. And so that's what we have here. I just thought of a name for it. So after I take this tape peel off, I'm gonna show you. I'm going to announce the name, which you'll already know because you'll have seen the title, and I'll probably title it. There we go. We've got 50 Shades of Trees, right? I was counting while it was drying, and there were approximately 50 trees. I think it was right on, actually, right on 50. So I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that you can paint with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hello, welcome. What I thought we would do, I